Coming up at the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival are two short films, one called Hardstyle Baby and the other called Golpes. And it's my great pleasure to be speaking to Nikhil Angelo Perera, who is the director of Hardstyle Baby, and Kevin Duran, who's the director of Golpes. Welcome to Movie Metropolis.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you
much
very
for having
much.
I might start with Nikhil first with Hardstyle Baby, which is a film about the rave scene. Tell me about the inspiration behind making that film.
Honestly, the inspiration came to me one day going home after work, listening to a hardstyle track, and listening to it, I just realized, yep, this is what I want to make my documentary about. Because at the time, I was a newcomer to the scene as well, and I feel like with my fresh perspective and curiosity, I could make something from a different point of view, and something clicked that day, and I knew that had to be my next documentary.
Okay, tell me about the issues you had in making the film in terms of using camera work and so on and etc.
One of the biggest challenges we faced was gaining access to raves. Like we are newcomers, we don't know DJs or promoters like that, but it was like making lots of calls, sending lots of emails, and luckily, we got access to a few raves, and that helped us make the project really well. And another challenge I felt, because I had a pretty small crew, was juggling a lot of roles as a director, editor, and a co-producer, while also staying true to the energy of the scene. But I had a pretty good crew, and it was smooth sailing from there.
Okay, excellent. Now, Kevin, let me ask you about your film Golpes. It's a film about your father, who's a retired musician. Tell me about gaining his participation in making the film.
Well, that's funny. Initially, basically, there was a lot of um, self-doubt when I was brainstorming for documentary ideas. Mainly because I was underestimating the importance of the story. Initially, I was gonna do something else. My dad came over here to visit for about a year. So he knew about the other ideas. And then one day I was just hanging out with a friend because I was telling them that the initial idea was not sitting quite well. And then I was pretty open with this person, so he had context about my dad's story. And then he was like, "What about your dad?" And then I went on a chat just explaining that, I just kind of like abandoned the idea for a while, but then everything started clicking. I've been lucky enough so far to get these sort of like visions when I come up with ideas. So like I get the idea and then it's straight up followed by like a vision, either like a frame or some sort of like iconography that I wanted to be on screen. And I just got flooded by those when he mentioned that. And so when I posted to my father, he was like, "Are you sure you want to make that?" Um, so yeah, I gave him like very little context. I wanted to, he's a very, um, I would say he's a very shy person. Um, so I didn't want to scare him away. So I just said that he just had to talk about his story. Like, don't worry about practicing questions. Don't worry about any of that. Like, I'll worry about that. You just talk about you. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, because you weave into the film some archival footage, his background. He's a drummer, I think, on congas and so on,
Yeah.
and Colombian by origin. Is that right? From Colombia?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you weave a fair bit into your film.
Yeah. It was a very hard process. Because it's my dad, and because I know his story, I was very confident about the story, right? As in, like, I knew all the bits that I wanted to talk about. Uh, but then I didn't realize that there were so many aspects of the story that I was just taking for granted, and I needed to give context to the audience, because they won't know what I know.
Mm.
So there was 100% like this process of like finding this story. Yeah, in terms of the archival footage, I reached out to different like centers back home in Colombia. Mom obviously helped me with all the family footage, and you can find some of his stuff online as well. So like it was a struggle to clear everything, but it wasn't too much of a nightmare to find the actual footage.
Okay. Oh, very interesting to hear that. Nikhil, back to you.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the interviews that are in the film and hard candy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that getting in contact with Scott Eller, the director of Hard Candy, was the biggest turning point for the production of Hardstyle Baby. He let us shoot at Hard Trance Reunion, which is a rave they have annually, and that this was one of the biggest takeaways from the film as well, how open-minded people are at raves. From that rave, it was like this chain reaction from us meeting people. We interview a few DJs from there, and then we meet up with ravers, and they led us to other DJs, and um, it was just amazing how like seeing the community be so like open-minded and so passionate about what they love. And it was all about showing genuine respect for the scene, and us having that curiosity made them speak about their culture so passionately as well. And I just want to thank Scott Eller for that.
Okay. And tell me about the editing. It's always an issue then to edit a film into the final product. How did that work?
Um, for me as an editor, when it comes to all of my productions, even short narrative films, I build everything around music. So considering that I made my documentary about music, I was very excited, and I had a very specific rhythm and energy in mind, tied to the tracks I picked. I was so excited to um, put in the songs that I love as a hardstyle fan to my documentary. And it was all about matching the intensity of the scene with a visual flow. And if you are a hardstyle fan, you know there's a certain structure to the song. It starts off with a bang, then it calms down a bit, and then it builds it all up and ends with a bang. That is the kind of structure I wanted to showcase with my film as well.
Okay, very good. Kevin, back to you.
Yeah.
Yes, tell me about the editing process for you.
So yeah, my editor's name is Jessica V. Palacios. So it was very handy that her parents speak Spanish, and well, she is not fluent, but she understands it. So that was pretty much just me being lucky, because it was such an intricate process, not only because of the language, but because the entirety of the whole interview was a 3.5 hour interview, because I wanted to make sure to get everything in. My dad was leaving the country like the following week, so I couldn't afford like doing pickups. Um, so yeah, I would say we spent probably a bit over a month like finalizing all the story bits. Um, at the start, like I was saying before, I was taking so much information for granted. I would just like assume that the audience was gonna put two and two together, and that's it. And then at the start, I thought I actually didn't know why I was exactly doing this film. Like I had not embraced the fact that this was me making it for my dad, not for anyone else. And in doing that, I kind of like gave in, and I also realized that music was gonna be like another character for the film, because that's pretty much what saved him and what helped him overcome so many things. And once those two were like fully part of the project, I think it became easier towards the last few weeks, before locking the film. But it was a really, really tough process, and like I'm really grateful for all the work that Jessica did for me. Um, it was a very interesting collaboration. I think the hardship of the project was what made me fall in love a little bit with documentary, in general. I think, yeah, this is definitely, you always hear that you have to find a story, and it is true, because you shoot all the footage, you get what you get, and you have to throw all the planning that you did out the window, because it is what it is, and then you just have to make sense out of what you got. So yeah.
Okay, interesting to hear all that. All right. So, Nikhil, back to you. What influenced you in terms of becoming a filmmaker or studying film?
Um, I was honestly just watching a bunch of films as a kid, just thinking to myself, I want to do what they're doing. And again, like I said, music is a big influence even for me when it comes to filmmaking. And I always want to implement that into my films. And it's just like stories about humans, stories about things that people experience. That's the type of stories I want to tell. And these are my biggest influences.
Okay. Are you working on other projects at the moment?
Yes, I am. I'm doing my final graduate project at SAE University College. It's called Sculpting the Soul, and we just wrapped up filming, and I'm in the process of editing it. I'm really excited
Okay.
to finish it. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Yes, yeah, you're at SAE and of course so are you, Kevin. So Kevin, what about you? What influenced you to be a filmmaker?
Well, initially, kind of like classic. As a kid, I was really into animation. Initially, I wanted to be an animator when I was like 8 years old, and then by 10, I was doing stop motion films with my mom's camera. Later on, I actually picked up music. Um, you would assume that you would have like an intense influence coming from dad, but he never pushed anything at all. It just like came naturally to me. I learned to play the violin, and then for a hot minute, I thought of becoming a professional musician. Um, and then when I was 16, about to graduate, I got a couple of animation classes. It was 3D animation, and they were so intense. I I didn't know there was so many physics involved. Um, and so I was like, this is not moving me. And then I did some like it was like a introspective moment, and I realized that storytelling was the thing that was always there. Like it had nothing to do with animation itself. It was more like storytelling. I really like. I would say I am a very emotional person, and I enjoy feeling like strong emotions when it comes to films. Like I love crying with films, or getting angry, or really happy. So I think that's pretty much what moves me. I just want to make others feel that way. And yeah, just like Nikhil, I do feel that I have a strong influence with music as well. Because I do, it helps me understand the pace of things a bit better. And having in the past working with like other musicians, and like being in orchestras or chamber groups, um, it helps with the teamwork aspect of it all as well. So yeah, that's
Yep.
always that's always been there for sure.
Okay, interesting to hear all that. And are you working on another film or project at the moment?
Yeah, so at SAE, I'm currently developing. I only started a couple of weeks ago, developing the script for my graduate film. I don't start the pre-production process until next trimester, but I'm getting hands on it right now. Can't tell you much about it, but it's gonna be a queer story. It's a it's basically a close friend's coming out story. It's really unexpected and it's just a very, very important story for me. I am getting help at uni developing the scripts um, of some of my lecturers. But yeah, I'm very excited for that one, actually. I wish I
Okay.
could tell you more about it. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I hope it goes well.
Thank you.
And okay, great to talk to you both. I'll just ask you a quick final question. Nikhil, back to you.
Yep.
Do you have a particular favorite filmmaker or film that may have influenced you
Do you mean in terms of my documentary or just in general?
in general?
Um, to be honest with you, I can't pick one, but my style of directing is very, very visual. So directors like Denis Villeneuve, David Fincher, Quentin Tarantino, they're big, big influences to me, and I just love their style of directing, and it's just so hard to pick one.
It's okay.
My influences come from everywhere, to be honest with you.
That's perfectly fine. And Kevin, what about you?
Yeah.
Uh, it's very hard. I really, um, I really enjoy watching. Well, first of all, coming of age movies. I love them. I would say just anything that's like contemplative. So those films that linger on the mundane stuff and they have like a very slow pace and you kind of feel like nothing happened, but also why am I sobbing right now? I would say the one I can think of now is like um, After Sun by Charlotte Wells, and then Close, which is French film by Lucas Dont.
I,
Both of them pretty much coming of age films. I also love Guillermo del Toro stuff with like Pan's Labyrinth and Shape of Water.
okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm always interested to hear about these influences and so on. Okay, we've been speaking to Nikhil about Hardstyle Baby and to Kevin about Golpes. Both films are screening as part of this year's Melbourne Documentary Film Festival. Thanks so much, both of you, for talking with me.
Thank you for your
Thank you
time.
so
Thank
much,
you.
Peter.
Okay, all the best. Bye bye.
You too. Bye
Bye,
bye.
Peter. Bye.